Welcome back to the Paddle and Fin Podcast Network. We're brought to you by Yak Gadget. For all your kayak fishing accessory needs, go to yakgadget.com. Pelican cases, coolers, and lighting. Go to pelican.com. The 153 Bait Company. For all your hard and soft bait needs, go to the 153anglers.com. Now let's get this show started.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to The Reel Down. I'm your host, Jimmy Skinner. Tonight with me, it's obviously not Drew. Got the queen of paddle and fin, Miss Susie Q. How you doing, Susie?
I'm doing pretty good.
Heck yeah. Glad to be back. I think I haven't been here in like a month. I don't even remember why I missed the first week. But COVID ran through our household and kicked my butt, like hardcore kicked my butt. And I've been better for a couple of weeks, but up until like this week, talking would get you winded. Like I'd have a conversation with my wife and be like, okay, I gotta go lay down. Like I can't breathe. But all better, man. I've missed it. Haven't even got to think about fishing lately, man. Like I was going to go out this weekend and was like, you know how much effort it's going to take to do all that? I'm not going. And it's getting closer to hunting season. And I know if, it's like half of the fishing world puts their rods and reels and kayaks up and gets ready for, deer season, duck season, whatever your passion is. What about you, Susie? You going to be doing anything else other than getting ready for cold weather?
A couple of different things, actually. So, I actually haven't done my segment for quite some time. My last show that I did was back in December. I took a little bit of a break just because of running the trail series and everything. I had also bought a house last year too. So that was kind of like a big change. And then just, some other crazy family stuff has happened this year too. So, but I'm finally starting to kind of slow down and catch up on some things. But next weekend, I've got pretty much my final event when it comes to championships and stuff like that. So the Crossroads kayak bass something, can't remember what it was. Me and I used to know what it was called.
Something.
My brain was just like,
it's a big one.
Anyway, they take 5 anglers from 5 different teams and they compete in like a final showdown. Cool. And the members from Kayak Bass League had won the first year and second year, I believe. And then last year, Indiana won because it's being hosted with the Indiana Kayak Anglers this year. So that takes place next weekend on the White River in Indianapolis. So
nice.
Yeah, kind of interesting.
And you're participating or are you running that?
I'm participating actually. Okay. Yeah. So,
okay. Because I know don't you help with like the Crossroads Classic?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I was TD for them the first and second year. So it's going to be different to be a participant in this one rather than running it. So
that's what's kind of been suck for me. I've taken on, a lot of y'all know I run the Bassmaster stuff for Alabama. The trail series, it didn't work out. I knew it wouldn't. Alabama's kind of packed with fishing schedules already. Mm-hmm. So I've taken over the state championship and it's cool, but it sucks because now they don't get to fish it. So
right. Yeah.
That didn't really hit. And when I was making up where we're going to go in a few years and getting ideas together, and I was like, well, that sucks. I don't want to go to Guntersville because I'll have to sit and watch everybody else catch fish. TD struggles though.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But so that's going to be kind of my last event. And then all of the DNR places, which is basically all the lakes around me, are going to be closing to fishing about mid-October because that's when they allow for waterfowl hunting and whatnot. So I got to get my time in here real soon because otherwise I'm going to have to drive at least an hour to find somewhere that is open.
Yeah.
So yeah, but this past weekend, if you guys hadn't seen, I got my first salmon for the year, so that was
Nice.
pretty awesome. It's been a really weird year this year. It's been really warm so far. Usually this time of year, it's the river temperature is usually like mid to low 60s, and it was 70 when I was up there. So it's still a bit warm. And the salmon tournament was this past weekend too. And out of 35 anglers, only 3 people got fish. So
Wow.
yeah, it's been a little tough right now. So I'm
They're
actually hoping they'll come in a little bit later because I'm like, well, I'm free in October. So
yeah. Well, that's really cool. Well, what we got going on tonight is Paddle and Fin just wrapped up their first trail series season, and what we decided to do was have the Angler of the Year winner from that on, and that was Mr. Blake Spurgeon. And I'm hoping I pronounced your last name right because I may have just butchered that. I meant to ask you.
No, that's right. You pronounced
Okay.
it right.
Woo! Yeah, I know it's right, but in my head, it's telling me to say it in these other ways that would make absolutely no sense. But what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Glad you can make it. I know it was kind of it was, I don't want to say last minute. It was a little bit of a struggle for me. It pulled up a lot of people on Facebook, and all Brian told me was that you were holding a deer in your picture, and there's another Blake Spurgeon that son is holding a deer in a picture, and I sent him the message. So I'm glad I texted you.
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're like, no,
me
I didn't
too.
get anything. And I was like, uh-oh. But yeah, so go ahead, take the floor, tell us who you are, where you're from, how you got into kayak fishing.
I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. I started kayak fishing, I think, last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm friends with Jackson Orr, so I mean, I met him at a tackle shop, probably like 8 years ago or something, and we always stayed in contact. And then needed to get a boat, and so I was like, I don't want to pay for a full size bass boat, so I was like, I'll just go for a kayak for now. And so he let me try his out, and then I was like, okay, I'm going to get into kayak fishing. And then I got my first kayak from Dry Dock Marina up in northern Indiana.
That's pretty cool. Jackson's he's probably a good person to lead somebody into kayak fishing. You know, he's one of the most, if not the most respected people in kayak fishing. You know, I don't think anybody would argue that. Everybody loves him. He is literally one of the nicest people in the world, and the guy knows what he's doing. I cannot wait to see how his career flourishes with him fishing in college and stuff. Now that's cool that was your connection. Like that.
Yeah. And I mean,
awesome.
he helps me out a lot too with like some of the tournament stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I still fished. I started like my fishing career in college through IPFW. And when I fished there, I never had a boat. It was always a partner that had a boat. And that's how I got started in fishing.
Mm-hmm. And that, that's very common with a lot of the kayak people. Me personally, I could never, like, I can back boat for fun with friends, but I hear about the struggles from co-anglers, and no, I'd end up kicking somebody off the front of the boat. Like, it's not going to go down the good way. I respect to all the guys out there doing, especially there's guys that are doing it the opposite way now in kayak fishing. Craig Dye, I know Christine Fisher dabbled with it a little bit. You know, they're having a ton of success in kayak fishing, and then, going. I think Craig's doing the Bass Opens. I know he was. I don't even know what events Christine was. She may have fished some of the Bass Opens, but yeah, man, pretty cool. So, Susie, I will let you go ahead. Tell us a little bit about the trail series, where we were, and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So we started off in Dale Hollow, Tennessee. We had our open there, and then we attempted to do like a Clash of Clubs type of thing. And basically, it was just open free for all for anyone to compete. And then the Clash of Clubs, we tried to get some club teams together, kind of like the Crossroads thing I was talking about. But yeah, we had a decent turnout. I know that the weather in Tennessee was, I think they had just gotten through like some really bad flooding, I think like the week before.
Oh yeah, that's right. I'm thinking of last October. No, you're right. Because I remember we were fishing like bedding fish, and like you were like 200 yards up in the woods, like
Yes.
kind of
Yeah.
crazy.
You were like really up there. So I was like, oh, this is interesting. I'd never been there before either. So
I wish you had been able to come in October when we were there, because in
Right.
October it was like 26 feet different. Like you're
Oh my
looking up
gosh.
at the banks, like that'd be a great place for a fish next year. And then when we got there, and I don't even remember what month that was, February, March, whatever it was.
Yeah,
You
we
know,
were
like
there in
like-
April.
when we were there, the launch, because there's only one launch at the marina.
Hmm.
Usually it's like this, and the handrail's like way up here, and the water was down here. When we got there, the water was like halfway up the street.
Yeah.
It was
yeah.
great. It was hilarious. Good event.
Right.
Well,
And-
I'm pretty sure we're going to be going back. I know we don't have a date, but Dale Hollow is kind of like those guys have taken us in, and we love them. So Blake, you need to take a trip to Tennessee. It's fun.
Yeah, I definitely want to.
Heck yeah. So yeah, we started off with our Open and Clash of Clubs in April on Dale Hollow, and then our very first trail event was the Tippecanoe River main area. It was in Monticello, Indiana. We had 11 anglers sign up for it, Mr. Jackson Orr being one of them as well. And let's see here. It looked like 8 out of the 11 people had gotten fish. It was a little bit tough. Just, time of year and everything. I know it was kind of cooler and a little bit rainy that day. But Blake, I don't know if you have any comments about how that day went for you, because I know you had only gotten 3 fish. Jackson was the only one who got his limit. So if that's to say anything about how tough it was that day, it was definitely a struggle.
Yeah, that was a day that like you had to slow down a lot, and I'm not super into Ned rig fishing or anything. Like
Me neither, buddy.
I
No.
throw swim baits 90% of the time,
Mm-hmm.
and so I don't do well when it's a slow bite like that, and that's something Jackson's good at. And
I
couldn't
don't have patience.
Yeah, I can throw a tube. I like tubes,
Mm-hmm.
but I run them a lot faster than what you typically would with like a Ned rig or being so finesse, super light.
I feel you on that. I love Texas rigs, but I fish them where you could probably consider it like legit power fishing, because it's, even if it's a bait that has no motion and it's supposed to just sit there, I'm like quack, 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 quack. I can't stop.
Yes.
Or
Yeah.
I'm like tap tap, nothing's there. Tap tap, nothing's there. Like I can't. I feel you, man. I can't stand here when somebody's like, "Yep, want it on the Ned rig."
Yeah,
Right. I mean, yeah, it definitely does take like a different like technique altogether to fish that, and a different amount of patience and sometimes even skill, because myself included, like I hate throwing the Ned rig just because it forces me to really stop and slow down and just sit there, and I'm like, this is like going against my nature right now. I want to be throwing and moving, but I'm like, nope. That's what they want, is to kind of be slow and not moving. I'm like, yeah, no, I can't do this.
That's why you'll never see me in the money anywhere. If it's a slow bite, I'm not getting it.
Right. But yeah, it was somewhat a little bit of a tough day. But let's see here. Looking at that day overall, though, Blake didn't do too bad. He had a pretty decent fish, though. He had I think a 17 and a 17 3/4 was his big fish. It was a smallmouth, so pretty nice fish. And then
looks good.
our second trail series event was up on the Coldwater Chain in Michigan. Now, this was actually our biggest event of the year. We had co-hosted with was it Southern Indiana or Southern Michigan or Northern Indiana? I always get them mixed up.
I was trying to see if it said on there, because I can't remember. And it's sad because me and Brian talked about it literally this morning. But The brain fog from COVID, real thing.
Right.
I
I've
swear
heard a
to
lot
God.
of people talk about that too.
It is frustrating.
But yeah, we had a total of 34 anglers sign up for that event, and it was a very busy tournament, like judging wise. Me and a buddy of mine, we judged over 221 fish that day.
Whew.
It was it was crazy. Like after the first hour, I think I already had like maybe 40 fish. I was like, oh boy, this is gonna keep me busy.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, it was definitely fun from a judging perspective. And let's see here. I know Blake did pretty good that one.
Yeah, Blake got 5th in that one.
Fifth,
Yeah,
yes.
it's a really good day. And you got 4th in that first one. And that's
Mhm.
that's the key to a lot of it is consistency. You don't have to win. You just have to be consistent for Angler of the Year. It's the same concept as like why a lot of people like the 2-day tournament formats, because it's you don't have to just blow it out of the water both days. You can have 2 consistent days and be up there in the running. That was a really good tournament. I was just looking at all of it. I mean, 20 people caught a limit. And
yeah, so
I
let's
mean,
see here.
ton of fish.
Had 20 people had a limit, and looks like 25 people total submitted fish out of the 34. So pretty decent overall.
Killer. And then where are we going after that?
All right, so after that, we were on the Madison Chain, and that one was in conjunction with Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series. And we also had a decent turnout for that one as well. We had 33 anglers for that one. And Madison Chain is one of it's not really like my top favorite, but it's definitely one of my fun places I like to go, just because there's a lot of different variety. There's, the different lakes to choose from. And then I also like to fish on the southern part of the Yahara River. Just, when I'm up there, I had a buddy show me some areas up there for some fun topwater pike fishing. But Lake Mendota, Kingonsa, Wabisa,
I love these
Kingonsa,
names.
and I always forget the other one. Mendota, Wabisa.
Y'all get all these cool like Native American names, and ours are like Ted's Landing, Maw's Pool.
Right. But so let's see here. For that one, we had let me go back to the right one, Madison Chain. So that one we had 18 limits caught.
Nice.
Which was pretty decent.
And that was the only event that you had a little trouble at, right, Blake?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit how that day was, and then step back and tell me how cold water was, because totally skipped over that. My fault.
Yeah.
Oh,
So the Wisconsin Madison Chain tournament was really funny. So pre-fishing, I found a really good pattern early in the morning, and so I have Panoptics on my kayak, and so I got into, it was like a 20-foot ledge, and there was a weed line that was maybe, I don't know, 6 foot or something. So I'd sit off it and I'd point it towards it, and I could see fish coming out, eating my drop shot, and I was throwing a black worm. And so I think I caught 2 16-inchers like back to back during pre-fishing in the morning. And I was like, okay, like this spot's probably going to be decent. And so tournament morning comes around, and well, my phone actually switched times. So I showed up to the boat ramp 2 hours early. So from and I was about to launch an hour before this tournament. But there was some other guy that he runs tournaments. He shows up an hour early, and he was like, I was like, hey, you're running late, aren't you? And he's like, no, I'm usually the first one to turn to these boat launches. And so yeah, that's when I found out that I was about to launch an hour before the tournament even started.
No.
And so I had to hang out, and that's when that thunderstorm was rolling in that morning.
Was that Nick? Or was it Greg?
He used to run, I think, one of the KBF series. He ran a big tournament.
One Derek, was it?
I honestly have no idea. I don't remember his name. He had a white beard.
Oh, who was that?
That's funny though. Like why did your phone swap? Was that
I
Well,
have no
because he's in
idea.
Indiana, so like he was in a different time zone. Like I've had that happen before.
Oh.
Because like when I travel to like Indiana or Michigan, I think it happened to me in Michigan. Like I don't know if it just didn't quite switch or what had happened, but like it was still in Central Time when it should have been in Eastern Time, or vice versa type of thing. So
Mine's done that when I've gone over into Georgia a couple of times where it's like the phone waits for you to just get chilled out enough, I guess, for it to catch up.
yeah.
Because, technology
Well,
sucks.
Mine was weird because like I could see on the truck that it was an hour behind or whatever. So from Eastern to
Oh
whatever
yeah, to
Wisconsin
Central.
time is.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, okay, it's good. And then I went to sleep that night and somehow it managed to change. I
That's
guess
crazy.
it was better being early than late. But
Yeah.
But then that thunderstorm rolled in and messed everything up.
Mhm.
yeah, well that's the funny part. So I get out to my spot and I'm fishing it, and I think I caught one. I don't know if I caught two in that spot early in the morning. And then I'm throwing a drop shot. And so I have a fluorocarbon leader, and fluorocarbon usually sinks. Well, this thunderstorm's rolling in, and my fluorocarbon starts floating in the middle of the air above the water. And I was like, what's going on? And then I got like a spark came off my reel onto my thumb, and I was like, this is not good. And I remember like shaking the rod tip around, like, like lay down. You should be going down. Yeah.
And then the pieces of the puzzle start clicking, and you're like, oh my God.
And then and so then I was like, holy crap. And so then I anchored up and I just like beamline straight to the boat launch. And I sat there and I was like, holy crap. Like that was really scary.
That's I've heard,
God.
I mean, I've had it happen in a boat. You get your hair stand up, you can feel the static a little bit. I've heard of the line thing happening, but never like talked to someone that it happened to. That is like, it's just one of those things where like at one point something was just a little bit higher than you putting that negative charge in the air, and you got lucky. Like, because it was sitting there like, now I'll go over here.
Yeah. Well,
he moved. He set it to the ramp.
And it was crazy because, like, I mean, the line was probably 2 or 3 foot off the surface of the water, so it wasn't just like barely off; like it was way off.
Whoa!
And so as I'm going back to the boat launch, there's like a huge crack of thunder and lightning that goes off. It was over the lake, and that's when I was like, nope. Like, so that right there, my bite was ruined because I had to go sit at the boat launch for an hour or something.
Count your blessings.
Take it that you
talk to God.
On, Mendota.
I don't even know. I don't even remember.
It was like the biggest one in the northernmost lake.
Was it? There's like the river that separates the two lakes.
Yes.
Or I mean, not the river, the road. There's a highway that separates the two.
Yes.
And I think it was it's the more southern one. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah. So that was probably, I think, what is that?
Is that Mintonka or?
No, Mendota, Wabisa, Kangansa. Why can't I think of it? Mendota. Monona,
that's what it is. Yes. That's where I launched.
Oh, wow.
I can't believe you don't remember that exactly because you like almost died. Like,
Right.
Yeah.
We almost saw a news story of something that most people think is just a myth.
Nick, who runs Great Lake Kayak Fishing Series now, he said that he launched out of the northernmost part of Mendota, and he had a very similar thing happen. I don't know about the line part, but he said when he was like casting, like the static electricity was like jumping, and he's like, what the heck is going on? Then he looks behind him and sees the lightning, and he said he made a beeline for the launch as well. He said he'd never been more like shook up over something like that. And I was
is insane.
Yeah. I was sitting at I think I was on a southern launch on Mendota, and I could see like the lightning kind of scattering across the sky. And like, I was watching the radar real closely because it looks like it was just going to skirt us. And I'm like, man, I hope it doesn't like shift down. But I was pretty nervous, because like when it comes to lightning and stuff like that, I'm just like, I don't know about this. But
when I used to be in the boat, you're worried about it, but then you're like, meh, I'm in a metal boat. I'm going to die anyway. I don't know why I'm more scared of it in the kayak. I've got it on video from like two or 3 months ago, fishing some backwaters here on Wheeler, and I could hear the storm rolling in, and I was like, man, the fish are picking up. This is perfect. And then there was a loud crack over my head, and you think about it, you got 8 rod tips up, and I don't know, I just got scared. Maybe I'm just getting wise in my old age. But now, thanks to Blake, I am going to be petrified because this man had his line Harry Potter magically up in the air 3 feet. I wish you had a GoPro to catch that.
Oh,
that would
that would have been
nuts.
wild to see.
That'd been something you'd see on like TV, on like Ridiculousness or something like that. Like,
and I told my family, and they were like, they didn't believe it, and I was like, like, how do you not like it? How do I describe it any differently?
Why would I lie?
Right. Yeah.
I'm not lying.
Right.
Yeah.
And in my scientific mind too, like it makes sense. I'm like, yeah, the line and the static electricity over the water. I'm like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. But to like think about that and like even try to visualize that, it still blows my mind because it's just there.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't know I brought my fly rod with me. What's going on?
Right.
That's insane, man.
It was funny though, because I was glad they didn't cancel or postpone the tournament because of that storm, because I knew I had a good bite in the morning. So it was just, it didn't matter. It would have gotten messed up either way.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. Well, step back and talk about how your day went at Coldwater, because you did really good at that one. You got 5th in that one. Tell us how that one went down. Obviously no lightning, didn't almost die.
No. Coldwater, that was a fun one. Free fishing, I found them on like another super deep weed line running a chatterbait. And I would throw it on Panoptics too. And so
that's cool.
And that was really neat to see. I mean, it's hard to see fish sometimes bite when it's windy because you're getting blown off your where the transducer's pointing. But overall, I caught them deep on weed lines, and then as I moved a lot of water, and I found a bunch of bedding fish, and so I marked the big ones, obviously, and then I went back into a cove, and that's where I found just some huge ones, and then tournament day, I went and I think there was a bunch of bedded fish on the main lake that were completely gone. And that same morning, I got cut off by a boater that was probably 30 yards in front of me. It was insane. I was catching fish. I think you saw me catching fish.
Of course he did.
Yeah. They weren't. Of course they were 13 inches or something. They were small.
Yeah, but 9 out of 10 of these guys. And it's not that they're in boats and we're in kayaks. A lot of people go out there on the lake that aren't, jam up fishermen. You having a struggle day, you see somebody hooking into something, you want to go hook into something. Mm-hmm. And then a lot of boaters have that mentality. We're smaller than they are.
Yeah.
We just need more people cracking people in the face.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Don't listen to me. Don't. No. Somebody's gonna get shot. Listen to me.
It was that was one of those moments where it's you have to be mentally tough to just be ignore it and just keep fishing your game. And so that's what I just kept doing and running the shoreline. I was throwing swim baits, shallow, and I could pick some of them up. And then later in the day, I went back to this little channel, and there was a bunch of big, I don't know, females, males, whatever, on beds back there. And so I figured out if I would just throw a Texas rig, it was it's the Diablo color. I think it's Reaction. No, it's Missile Baits.
Yeah.
Throwing that. It's super ugly. But I think their scent is really good.
Their scent's good. They're ugly. They're oily.
Yeah.
And I like using their stuff for heavy punching, and I don't know how many times I've shoved my flipping hook in my thumb because you're trying to text pose it, and it's just it is so greasy, and that's my only hate with missile baits is they're just gross.
Yeah.
They're my favorite Texas rig bait.
Yeah, they're super good. I like Pit Boss too.
Yeah, I'm a Zoom, and for Texas rig, the Guggen Craws. People can hate Guggen all they want. I don't know if it's something different, their color combinations or what. If a craw is the bite, that's what I have my success on. And if I can't catch them on that, just the Zoom Ultra Vibe, and which is great because they're $3.
Oh yes,
that saved me money. Well, that's awesome. But yeah, so like I said earlier, you had a consistent year. You showed up to a few events, which a lot of guys missed out on by not hitting the multiples, and some guys did. And you have a couple bombs and one decent tournament, but it goes to show, just show up, put your head down, be consistent, don't get hit by lightning. That doesn't count. I can't let that go. I was not expecting a cool story like that. Like, you expect cool fishing stories when we have people on, so I'm waiting for and then I hooked that donkey, blah blah blah. And you're like, no, my line was floating like 3 foot above the water. What? But yeah, man. But congrats on a good year for AOY. Heard you got a really cool, prize package from Paddle and Fin, from all of the sponsors that helped make the Trail Series, cool this year. The Trail Series just finished up, like we said, on lacrosse. A few of those guys got on some really good numbers, caught a bunch of fish. Didn't have the turnout that we were hoping for, but it's getting into the year. Schedules are packed. People are running out of, leave, and they're built up PTO and stuff. It's understandable. But what'd you think about the Trail Series overall, man?
I thought it was really good. I mean, I thought I liked it because most of the locations were pretty close to me. It was, Monticello's that's maybe less than 2 hours away. Nice. Same with Coldwater. Wisconsin, Madison Chain was a little far, and then La Crosse was pretty far, but I love the Mississippi River. So I fished there 2 other times, and that was like, nice. Why wouldn't I want to go to this? So,
yeah. Well, that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah, you and Kevin were duking it out on La Crosse.
Yeah, man. That's the one I forgot to pull up, because Brian told me, he's like, yeah, the guy you're having on tonight should have tied that guy and probably would have had big fish, but tell the story of what happened.
Oh, did Brian tell you about the one I caught last minute?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that was a heartbreak. So I got on a pattern super late in the day of throwing like a black fluke, and I would just run it in lily pads and let it kind of sink, sort of like what's the horizontal bait? Now I can't think of it. The worm. Bait. No.
Oh,
I have no idea.
Senko?
Senko, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
you said horizontal bait. You're talking like when you're like wacky rig something. I got you.
Yeah. And so it would just like sink real slow. And so I threw this, up in the pads, and that's how I started catching fish late in the day. And then I ended up hooking into a 16.5 inch, I think it was. And I get him in the boat at 1:59. And so I get my phone, and and I knew it was last minute. And so I get my phone out, and it had been raining, and my waterproof phone case has water on the surface. So the screen didn't work right.
Isn't responding to touch.
Yes. And so I'm like swiping frantically, like, come on. And then finally it's like 2:00 at this point, and I'm like, holy crap, like I can't get it in. And so then I still was like, well, maybe if it's 2:00, I don't know if they're going to accept it at 2:00 or if it's cut off as like 1:59:59.
Yeah.
And so I get my camera app open, and then my camera app crashes. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
No.
And so like, I think I have to look at my phone to see what time the picture was actually like finally taken, but I think it was like 2:01 or 2:02, and it was, yeah.
And as we were saying, that 16 would have gave you another, let's see.
That was on what day?
That'd have been a 3.5 inch coal. Wait, no, I'm looking at day one. Hold on. Let me go to it. Go to total. So yeah, that would have been a, where is it? 2.5 inch coal.
Yeah.
Oh, 3.5. I was right. Yeah. You would have had it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I was so mad when that happened. Man. I was not happy.
Oh.
But that's how fishing goes. So
it is. Hey, if you want to talk about the woe stories, everybody that knows me knows that I've got more almosts and should-haves, and if it can go wrong, it will go wrong. Yeah. I can kick your butt pre-fishing, but that's it. That's still cool, man. That's a good way to end the season in that trail series, though. Did you participate in any other trail series, local club stuff this year too?
Yeah, I fish in Indiana Kayak Anglers. I fish in all their tournaments throughout the year too.
How'd that season go for you?
It went pretty good. I had some heartbreaks.
Me and this guy could get along.
It's the pre-fishing thing. Yeah. I think I finished like maybe 11th in Angler of the Year.
No, that's good.
That's good.
I made it to the championship, and I think I got 4th or 5th in the championship. So
No, man, that's a solid year.
That is an awesome year.
You've only been in the kayak thing. Yeah.
That's what I was disappointed about, but
hey, that's a buddy of mine. I'll talk about him briefly in a little bit when we're doing the recap. He has been one place out of the money 7 times in the last two seasons, and we only have four stops in each of our or in our seasons. I think he cashed his first check this year. He missed Angler of the Year by a little bit, but he just won the classic that they run. Like, he finally put it all together, and we've been fishing with NACA for 3 or 4 years or something like that. So it'll happen, man. You are very consistent, it sounds like. And if you got Jackson Orr helping you out, you already have, and Panoptics, man, you got an advantage.
Oh man.
I got to ask you a question about that. We always have people on here, and I've never asked, what kind of range, like distance-wise, can that see? Because I always hear about guys like slow fishing with them. You know, you see the fish drop down on them. You're fishing like a jackhammer.
yeah.
Like, so what kind of distance are you actually seeing these fish at on Panoptics?
So it depends on the water clarity.
Mhm.
If it's muddier water, then you get more feedback, and so you can't see out
Blurry
super far.
image.
Yeah. I usually stick to like 60 feet, and I'll cast out past that, and then
good.
I thought these things only see like 20 foot. I didn't realize that you got
thinking
60
too.
foot of range.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
no, I want one
crazy.
now.
I don't know how wide the beam is. It's sometimes in a kayak that is difficult because
Mhm.
the wind blows us so easily. But if I'm anchored down into the wind and it's a consistent wind, then I'm perfectly good, and I can figure out exactly where I need to throw my bait to run it through that transducer beam.
What
Well,
what kind of a
go-
kayak do you have?
Hobie Pro Angler 14.
Okay, so you got it on a Hobie. So now I know with that transducer, it's like the special one where you have to like turn it and whatnot. So you can't really put it on the transducer mount on the bottom, right? It's kind of got to go over the side.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
I have it set up on a I don't know, a RAM mount. That's what I have it. So I have a one's connected to the H rail, and then it like swivels out, and then there's a PVC pipe, which is
I was just about to say, everybody I know does.
DIY,
I've seen
man.
one
Everybody's
guy
got some
have
form
the
of
legit
PVC
mount
pipe.
for that thing. Everyone else I know has got like a 2.5 piece PVC pipe. Some guys might spray paint it, most don't.
Yeah.
And like you see them like,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's cool though.
Yep. I just swing it over the edge. I lock down the RAM mount, and then it's got like a handlebar. The PVC pipe goes through a handlebar connector thing. And so then I can swivel it 360 degrees. And then there's a Panoptics unit. So the black box, which I have it mounted inside the kayak on, I don't know how, the underside of the floor. So.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool. I definitely like I want one. Like, I feel like there's been conversations being pushed around, like, is it an unfair advantage in the kayak world? Should they be allowed? Should they not? Which they do the same thing in the boat world. It's just another tool. But like, I'm
Still
torn.
gotta catch the fish.
Yeah, no, I can say that. In Texas, I had a guy like kind of fishing all over our spot, and that's what he was using. And I never saw him pull a fish out of there. And we were just smoking them on buzz baits and frogs. So it's not catching them for you. I mean,
yeah.
And if you get good with your electronics, I mean, people like Adam Reiser are like Adam Reiser. I talked to 2 more people this weekend that told me this. He's a hummingbird guru. They were all going out fishing on the like boats, and this is two different guys, 2 different times. And Adam like walked over to their graph, started pressing buttons, and then walked away. And they said when they sat down, they'd never seen a picture like that before, where you could be like, "Oh, there's a fish right over there, and there's a tire, and look at that." Like, people are like, "Yeah, once Adam gets a hold of your graph, don't touch it." Like, So it's
I need to find a Lowrance guru, man, because I just got a new unit a couple months ago, and I'm just like, I'm still like, whoa, because it is too smart for its own good.
that's kind of why I went Raymarine. I run the Element 9, and my favorite thing about it is the ease of use. You can go in and dial everything in, but for the most part, when you cut it on, everything adjusts itself. And like when I had my Humminbird unit, I was always having to just like try and figure it out to get clarities right and frequencies, and I always struggled. And the Raymarine just always seems to work good enough for me to catch fish. It's not Panoptics, or everybody knows you cannot beat Hummingbird's Megavision as far as the down and side scan pictures. They are phenomenal, but you got to know what you're doing to get there, and I'm not that guy. So, well, that's cool. So, what you got coming up next? You done for the season? Any more fishing adventures?
The only thing that I'm still fishing for is IKA is putting on a big bass bash kind of a deal.
Oh, cool.
So your biggest largemouth and smallmouth combined. I need to get a bigger smallmouth, so I need to work on that this fall.
How up there where you're at, about how well, first, when's that tournament in, and like, is it starting to get in the downswing for y'all where fishing's about to start to, water's going to start getting kind of too cool and kind of lose its spurt, or do y'all get to fish pretty late into the year?
That's a good question. I guess so. Like this time of year, I mean, I slow down a lot in fishing. I fish Lake Freeman, which is part of it's one of the lakes that's on the Tippecanoe River. And there's good smallmouth in there. And I've got a really good smallmouth spot in the fall time. So when it gets cold. And so that's where, I'm planning on hitting that.
Yeah.
But
sweet. Man, that's really cool. So, well, do you got any before we let you go, do you have any big plans for next season? You got any, like you had a lot of, you said you had some heartbreak this year. Do you have any like big goals for next year already kind of jotted down?
Oh man.
Mine just as big, plain to the point, don't suck.
Yeah, no, that's right. One thing I want to catch more limits. Like this year I had a couple tournaments. One tournament was really bad. I zeroed on, but so did like 60 some other people on.
See, that's the ones where I'm like, nah, I'm not that bad.
Yeah,
it was just a bad day.
Yeah, but I want to get more consistent with catching my limit, and I want to be able to move around more and really, I guess, dial in fish a lot better than what I have done.
And that's always goals. The goal for, I feel like for a lot of people, recognizing that is a big part. A lot of us, it's like, okay, I got to go catch 5 big fish. Well, that's not the case. Like listening to a bunch of professional anglers and even some of our guys like Jackson and Jody and, Russ. Well, maybe not Russ, because Russ always does good. So.
Say Russ is
but like
guru.
my whole mentality changed this year. It was, I got to get a bite. And then it was, I got to replicate the bite. Okay, now I need 3 more of those bites. And then, just step by step. That way, because I can't stand, I'm a head case when I fish. I can be. And I can psych myself right out of my tournament, an hour into it. So for me, it was, there we go. Lost my background. And for me, it was just taking a step back this year to not think about, I got to get a limit. Don't look at Tourney X. Just chip away at it. And go from there. And, recognizing like you need them, I need to work a little better on these things is killer. So, and I really do, man. If you've only been in the kayak fishing thing for a little time and you're already showing this kind of consistency, I think we'll have you on here a lot more. I think we'll be seeing your name up there and with those clubs or that club you fish with. And, if you come hang out with Paddle and Fin some more, I'm sure you'll be up there. I'm telling you, man, come down to Tennessee, hit the Del Hollow event. It's always the most fun. Good food, cool places to stay. Del Hollow Lake's beautiful. They treat all of us and anybody that comes down to hang out with us really good. I can't say the fishing's been on fire ever down there when we're down there, but the company and the fun makes up for it.
You never
But
know. You might just slide down a slide on the back of a houseboat.
I forgot about that.
That
We got
was
in
a
trouble
lot of
after
fun.
that too.
Yeah, just a little bit, but we have fun. We have a good time.
We didn't get in trouble. I didn't know there was submerged cables underwater, and we kind of were peer pressuring our guys off the back of this boat. And then Richard called us, was like, "No, you might cut yourself open." Oh,
Yeah.
oops. And he was like, "Y'all come back in the summer. We'll park the boat in the middle of the lake. Do whatever you want." But well, it was a pleasure having you, and I know I'll definitely be paying attention to see your name pop up because we do the tournament recap on our show every week. I always pay attention to the bigger clubs, so I'm sure we'll see you progress and we'll have you back on. But before we let you go, we always give everybody a chance to thank anybody they want to thank that makes fishing easier, whether it's your mama, your girlfriend, your sponsors, just whoever.
I got to thank my 2 older brothers. They both sponsor me. Alex with Ultrasonic Poultry Systems and Casey with Graphite Customs.
Sweet.
So they're the ones that help me get to all these tournaments and cover gas, lodging, and tournament fees.
Awesome.
Damn it, Mom! Why did I have to be the oldest child? That's cool. That's family right there,
Awesome.
man. Like if I called my sister and was like, "Hey, you want to sponsor my fishing career?" She would say, "Get," and that'd be the end of it. Like, then that'd be, oh, okay, cool. Well, that's awesome. Well, anybody else, any family or anything like that?
I guess I got to thank my girlfriend too for letting me go to all these tournaments.
There you go.
We just got a house and we're completely redoing all of it. So
wow,
perfect time to leave her with it.
Yeah, getting away last weekend, it put us a little bit behind, but it's okay, I guess.
Awesome. Well, if Paddle and Fin runs it again next year, you gonna be back?
Oh yeah,
try to repeat AOY.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Heck yeah. Well, we appreciate you coming on, and I'll say this now. I usually forget to do this. If you get a chance, send me a picture I'm going to use for the thumbnail for this tomorrow. I don't mind saying this while we're recording because if I don't, I'll never ask you. But shoot me a picture. Good picture of you holding a fish or a girlfriend, whatever you got.
Okay. All right.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on, man, and we'll talk at you later.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Awesome. That lightning story is nuts.
That is crazy.
Golly, what I wouldn't have.
I mean,
paid
I thought
money to
I've had
see
some
that.
pretty crazy experiences, but that's wild.
The closest thing I've got to that on the water was years ago. We were on the water when a tornado crossed the river. Like we didn't see it, and where we're at, there's no sirens. But my buddy's wife called him and was like, "Hey, yeah, tornado is crossing out of Tuscaloosa, crossing the Warrior," and they're like, "Where are you at?" And my buddy's like, "Well, I think we're like 3 miles from that road." So we went and shot the boat up in an empty boathouse because apparently on the Warrior River, that's like boater code. An empty boathouse is free for you as long as you don't steal anything. So we hid in like a 60-year-old boathouse and prayed to God we didn't get killed. But that's not as cool as floating fishing line and electric shock.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Well, what about you, Susie? You got anything else cool coming up, not fishing related? You said you hadn't recorded a show. You about to get back to recording?
I actually am. I had a pretty good talk with a fellow lady angler who met up with me up in Michigan, not this past weekend, but the weekend before. Her name's Luann Clapp, and we were talking just about, women and fishing and stuff like that, and I was telling her that I was kind of having like a writer's block, with my podcast, and she gave me some pretty good feedback and pretty good ideas and suggestions. So I'm like, okay,
That's cool.
Yeah. So I'm going to start kind of brainstorming some things, and then I actually have to like troubleshoot some things because like it involves, my GoPro and other stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, I need to like try this out and see how it works. And then I also got to get good with some like video editing software. So I got to look into some of those things. So I'm hoping by the end of October, I'll be back up and going. So
sweet.
Yeah.
I know everybody's missed it.
Right. I'm
That'd be
hoping
cool.
So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, where else can you get female angler content? Nowhere.
Right?
I mean, you can look and read stuff on Instagram from people that do that. But, woo!
Right. Yeah,
Not as
yeah.
cool.
I mean, there's a couple ladies out there who have some, decent things, but I was asking Luann, I was like, what are we missing out there? And she gave me some pretty good things to. I'm not going to give anything away because I'm like, I don't want anybody to steal this.
Yeah. No, I feel
but
you.
I'm like, okay, you know what? Like, she's right. Like, she definitely, had some really good things that was like glaringly obvious. That's like kind of missing. I'm like, all right, let's see if I can pull this off and work with it.
Yeah.
So,
No,
yeah.
I understand. It's tough when you do this for so long. It's tough to keep grinding it out.
Mhm.
That was, I get burnt out on doing this myself just because our show is a specific niche.
Right.
It's hard to make it more interesting, but this is the time of
Mhm.
year that as the tournaments wind down, we get to start playing around, and that's kind of like the refresher.
Yes.
Step back, have a little fun, and then get ready for the next season. So
Exactly.
we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. Good deal.
Well, go ahead and get into some tournament coverage from last weekend. This first one's a pretty cool one. Oh no, did I pull up the wrong one? Nope, there it is. This first one on my list was the Hobie Fishing Euro Championship in Herringvalley. Maybe we'll go with that.
Sure.
It's a saltwater inlet in the Netherlands. They were going
Ooh.
after pike, zander, and perch. It was a 2-day tournament, and it's a 7-fish limit per day.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's different.
That's
There were
interesting.
71 anglers. Day one, Sala El Barbucci had 367 centimeters. See, that right there would mess me up when they change the numbers on me. I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
Metric to imperial, and
Yeah,
it's just
I'm
like,
out. I can't add that high. Second place to Matthias Fisher with 330 centimeters. Third was Ronald Trask with 327. Day two, Sala came in again with 410 centimeters. Second place was David Skoronik with 364, and third place Matthias Fisher. The totals, Sala with the 2 good days, 770 centimeters, and was the only angler to limit on either day. Not both days, but either day.
Oh, wow.
Second place was Matthias Fisher, 649. So a pretty big gap between first and second. And third place, Ronald Trask with 599. So that's pretty cool. I've never covered one of the Hobie international events. That's pretty cool.
That's
I'd like
really
to know what a
interesting.
zander is, or if that's one of my wife's typos. But who knows?
What's it called? A Xander?
Zander. Never heard of it.
Hmm.
Moving on from there, we had the Sticks Live Series Championship in Nebraska, Lewis and Clark Lake in Yankton, Nebraska. Another 2-day tournament, 33 anglers, 5-fish limit per day, and then the combined 10-day total. First place, Jordan Westerman on day one with 91 inches. Second place, James Francis with 84 and a quarter. Third, Kevin Workman with 83. Day two, little shakeup, Jason Schreck with 86 and 3/4. Second place, Brady Stores with 85 and a quarter. Third place, Ty Steinkühler with 83. Your total overalls, Jordan Westerman took the win with 173 and a quarter. Second place, Jason Schreck with 165 and a quarter. And third place, Ty Steinkühler with 164 and 3/4. Going on from there, we had the Queen City Kayak Bass Fishing event number 9 on Lake Murray. 79 anglers. They do the famous 4-fish limit that everybody loves. First place, Jeremy Heath with 66 and a half. Second place, Ronnie Murphy right behind him with 66. Third place, Robbie Sinker with 65 and 3/4. So pretty tight right there in the top. Mid-Atlantic Kayak Bass Fishing Series was at the Rocky Gorge Reservoir. They had 26 anglers, 5-fish limit. First place, J.R. Rentz with 85 and a half. Second place, Ryan Lignelli with 74. Third place, Nicholas Mazza with 71 and 3/4. Kayak Anglers of Western Pennsylvania, the River's Edge Still City Classic up in Pittsburgh. They were on the, can't pronounce it, Nikiski Rivers. We're going to go with Allegheny. 50 anglers, 5-fish limit. First place, Jeffrey Rabbit with 89 and a quarter. Second place, Aaron Proper with 83 and a quarter. Third place, Aaron Ohe with 79 and a quarter. This one was close to home, the 2021 North Alabama Kayak Anglers Tournament Trail, the Classic on Wheeler Lake, right here in my backyard. This is the qualifying event at the end of the year, invite only. 31 anglers, 5 fish limit. First place to my homie, Blake Robertson, 91 inches. It was cool talking to him during the day. He hadn't had a chance to post. He was in the fish. And I just messaged him and was like, man, 82's winning it right now. And he's like, well, hell, I got 90. And I was like, well, good job. And it ended up being close, though. The repeat angler of the year, Mr. Randall Wallace, was right on him with 90 and a half. And Jason Moore, another good friend, third place with 88 and a quarter. So congrats to those guys. Right after that was the 2021 Spro Frog tournament on Guntersville, also right around the corner.
Yes.
And that was a tough one for our guys because Randall Wallace, the repeat AOY, he's won that event 2 years in a row. But he did not want to miss the classic, with our local guys. So he skipped out on that and kind of left the door open. But first place was Chris Walters with 90 inches. Second place, Jordan Marshall, 83 and a half. Third place, Jim Ware the Hammer with 83 and a quarter. So that's pretty decent. I would have expected a little bit better numbers out of Guntersville right now, but the weather's also been kind of cooling off a little bit here, kind of early.
The weather's been weird. Like, we've been abnormally warm, but I know hurricanes and stuff have kind of messed up a lot of things too.
Oh yeah, we're post one hurricane, and then the weird cold fronts that we've been having. Like, we had some mornings in the 50s, which we usually don't get that until another month. Most of the time. Like
last week, we had 2 nights where it was 55, and I'm just like, what is this?
It's much appreciated, but it screws up the fishing.
It is. Yeah. But then
I love when I walk out in the morning before the sun gets up and it's just that little bit chilly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're just like, it's football season. Let's see. Going on from there, grassroots bass yakking on Patoka Lake. 2-day tournament, 5 fish limit each day. Day 1, Glenn Landstrom with 80 and 3/4. Second place, James England, 73 and a half. Third place, Brian Sparks with 72 and a quarter. Day 2 winner, Brian Sparks jumped up to the lead, 68 and 3/4. Second place, Jason Merritt with 67 and a quarter. And third place, Glenn Landstrom with 63. That right there shows how bad the fishing dropped off if those are 5 fish limits.
Mm-hmm.
So tough day. So first place, Glenn took the win. Glenn Landstrom with a 143 and 3/4 for the 2-day combined. Brian Sparks with 141 for second. Jason Merritt with 130 and 3/4. So that's a tough tournament.
Yeah.
Good Lord, there were a bunch of tournaments. So I thought I was done. There's a whole other page.
Oh no.
All right, bear with me, folks. The All-American Kayak Series. This was in conjunction with the Sticks tournament we talked about earlier. First place, Jason Schreck, 86 and 3/4. Second place, Brady Stores, 85 and a quarter. Third place, Ty Stuncooler with 83. Natural State Kayak Anglers Intercontinental Bass Championship on Lake Atkins, Arkansas. 25 anglers. First place, Justin Vaughn with 96 and a quarter. There's some good numbers. Second place, Garrett Morgan with 94 and 3/4. Third place, Gordon Parham with 87 and a quarter. Next up, Moyak was the Pomme de Terre in Mizzou. 77 anglers, 5 fish limit. First place, Joseph Mursky with 84 and a quarter. Second place, Justin Kuhn with 84 and a quarter as well. Lost to the Big Fish tiebreaker. Third place, Jason Shiflett with 83 and 3/4. The Louisiana Bassmaster Bass Nation State Championship, Lake St. John and Lake Concordia. 32 anglers, 5 fish. First place, Dustin Talbot with 91 and 3/4. Second place, Jonathan Carter with 83 and 3/4. Third place, Francis Tran with 81. I feel like that's saying something that they just had a hurricane down there. I don't know where this is in relativity to where the hurricane made landfall, but we got weather from that. Georgia got weather from that. I know that got hammered.
Mm-hmm.
To pull 91 out with all that mess,
Jesus.
I'd like to see some pictures of what water clarity and stuff.
Oh, I know,
all
right?
That. Houses floating by, roof, pitch under the roof.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's terrible. Prayers to all the people affected by that. I didn't mean anything bad by that, and congrats to those people for doing so good down there in Lord knows what kind of conditions. Moving on, Colorado Kayak Fishing Club was on Trinidad Lake. 39 anglers, 5 fish. First one, Chinchar Lee, 74 and a half. Second place, Paul Roth, 68 and a half. Third place, Clay Roberts with 65 and a half. Cincinnati Kayak Fishing was on Cowan Lake, 39 anglers. Michael Grimsley, that's a good friend of Paddle and Fin, got the win with 51. That's a 3-fish limit. Second place, Jason Isaacs with 49. Third place, Jim Klein with 46 3/4. Next up, the Wild West Bass Trail, California Open Water. Any public water larger than 200 acres. Well, that's a different take on it. I like that. 61 anglers, 5-fish limit. First place, Shane Jones with 98 inches. That's a good day. Second place, Carlos Morazo with 94.5. Third place with Kyle Winkler with 91.5. So killer day for all those guys. And last but not least, the Urban Angler Club of LA in Puddingstone Lake. I swear to God, that's what it says. 29 anglers. First place, Gilbert Garcia, 59 inches with only 4 fish. 5-fish limit, and the winner only had 4. That's tough fishing. They had 29 anglers, and there were only 27 fish caught total. That is tough.
Dang.
Second place, Ted Yang with 55.5. Third place, Dominic Doan with 46.5. So, bunch of tournaments. The seasons are starting to wind down. We'll probably have a few more championships. I know a bunch of the clubs like Queen City are still rocking it out. You know, they do like 57 events a year. So, we'll see what we got coming up. I know, let's see, next week is the Hobie on Pickwick.
Mm-hmm.
The week after that is the Bassmaster in Lacrosse.
Bass on Lacrosse, yep.
Oh wait, no, I can't make that one now either. Never mind. I think that's the last of all the national stuff as far as those two go before they do the Tournament of Champions for Hobie. Bassmaster doesn't do anything until next year for the Classic, and I have no clue on the KBF schedule. Since they've went to
Chaos,
I always forget to look, and I cannot stand trying to navigate because they're not even in order.
Mm-mm.
When you look KBF up, the event that's happening now is at the bottom, and 2 weeks ago was at the top, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, well,
I hear it works pretty good. I just don't like it.
Actually, I could tell you what the next KBF event is because I keep track of that stuff.
I'm glad you do.
Or
I
no.
probably should.
The last trail event was the Kentucky Lake.
Is that okay? So that's the season ender.
I think so. And then so Pickwick is the 18th and 19th, and then Lacrosse is the 25th. So
and then is the next thing with KBF will be the championship, and that's in October.
Here, yes. So let's see here. There's like an open KBF Open in Stafford, Virginia on the September 25th. But then in October. Oh, there's a Trail Series Championship. Okay, so that's part of
they do Trail Series Championship, Challenge Series Championship,
and then the National
Championship.
Yep.
Do the Triple Crown.
Yes.
That'll be cool to watch. I know there's going to be a bunch of big names at that because a lot of your good anglers that are chasing the national trails, they still hit enough KBF to get qualified for the NC because the prizes and the money have such good potential. I wanted to make the NC. I was going to do it the cheap, quick way through the Challenge Series, do a monthly. And for the second or third year, no, it's the second year in a row, I entered another KBF monthly and didn't fish because I was too busy. I'm not doing it anymore. I've donated so much money to people. And the last time I looked at it, only 3 people posted fish.
Oh,
and
man.
Yeah, there were like 15 in it. 3 people posted fish. Don't think anybody broke like 50 inches. I could have done that in 10 minutes at one spot and literally never went. I got too busy. Didn't even think about it. But whatever.
Right. Yeah.
See? My luck.
I was going to say, I want to try to see how many people are signed up for the national championship.
But you can't.
But you can't.
Yeah, I didn't like that either. You couldn't see who all was in your monthly in your state until they posted fish. And I heard from somebody. I can't remember. But yeah, it's kind of stupid. I'm not trying to bash it. No. They were having issues
when you're trying to, as an outsider who's trying to look into this, you got to think of the easeability for somebody to go on there and look for a tournament or, check standings or, see the anglers and stuff like that. And that's just not very inviting.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
Again, things that we can complain about that probably don't affect them at all. So
Right. Yeah.
it's whatever. We'll make do. I still, we're plugged into the community enough that I hear, like Robert Weicker winning or something like that, and I'll be like, oh, there was a KBF this weekend. That's what we'll do.
Right.
Well, Susie, I appreciate you so much for jumping in and all the work you did this year. I know it was tough, and y'all kept your heads in it and kept your heads held high. Learned some stuff, got some stuff to take away from it for next year, no matter what y'all decide to do. But yeah, everybody appreciates it. I know we appreciate you. Can't wait for your segment to come back, and Lord knows what we get moving into next year.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's always the biggest thing too. It's just like, what's going to happen next year?
Oh,
so
Lord.
yeah, we've talked a little bit about what we might do for next year for the trail series. I know we're not going to do as many events. We definitely want to do like a Dale Hollow event, but then after that, we're only thinking maybe just like 2 or 3 events, maybe if that, or maybe just do like 2 events and then 1 big event at the end or something like that. So we need to have a meeting of the minds to kind of talk about, the season, what worked good, what didn't work good, again, it was the first season. So, gotta take
and I passed on some information to Brian, and I'm not afraid to put it out here. It's not a big deal. We had a club in Tennessee want to partner with Paddle and Fin, so for an event, they want to do a joint event, and the joint events this year were good numbers. So
yes, they were. So I'm thinking that maybe something like that might work better for us. We could just be like the host of a event type thing,
yeah, that gives. I've seen clubs do it elsewhere. When you have an entity that has a better media platform than you, it just makes you look more professional.
Right.
So that could be the good move for for Paddle and Fin. Who knows?
Yeah, and yeah, and I'm gonna send out like a survey. I gotta get one created to all of the anglers who competed in the open and trail series, just to get some basic feedback. And if people just want to chime in, just in general, like even if you didn't compete, like what would you have liked to have seen more from us?
What would have made you want to compete?
Right.
Like
exactly.
What did you not see that you would like to have seen?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, we always want the feedback, good, bad, in the middle, like let us know, because that's the only way we're going to get better.
These folks ain't going to change if you don't talk to them.
Exactly.
We ain't going to do nothing different if you don't tell us what we did wrong.
Right.
But no, I'm sure we'll hear about it. I'll say this from all the people that were involved that did compete. We've talked to a bunch of them. Nobody's complained. Jackson, when he won, he said it, and I'll keep saying it. He compared it to a Hobie event. He said,
Right.
Yeah, and that's saying something. All your top national anglers that travel talk about how good Hobie treats everybody. And he said it was on that level. Hobie's got way more money than we do.
Yeah.
But
they got a little bit bigger reputation,
little bit.
in some areas.
We doing good to be a bunch of broke folks.
Right.
We talk for a living, which I don't even talk for a living because this don't pay us nothing. But
right. Yeah. And at the Coldwater Trail, we had some little hiccups at, the check-in and whatnot that we didn't really expect or realize, but we've definitely learned from them, and hope
the Del Hollow event, there was a bunch of like technical issues.
Yeah,
that first day that Brian and Jay and everybody got figured out. We had we had tons of issues trying to do live coverage, but it's what I've always said with kayak fishing, man. A lot of your best anglers are going places that's not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
It's you can watch it happen on Bassmaster Live when they do the boat traffic. I think it was a year ago. Yeah, it was on the Classic at Guntersville. One of the anglers jumped up kind of quick, like in the midday. They had a tracker and knew where he was, but they couldn't get a boat to him because they couldn't get any signal out there to find out exactly where they were. It was just like random pinging. So, I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, they've got hundreds of thousands of dollars of media equipment that we will never have.
Big, crazy cameras, like, and even then they still struggle. And, you know, here we are trying to shoot them from our cell phones and stuff like that, you know, so. Which
was still fun. I got to chase around folks at Del Hollow. That was cool. It was a workout, but it was still cool. You know, it's cool getting the talk to them while it's happening, you know, what's going through their head, what they think they're doing right, wrong, what they're expecting. It's just a different look on it. It's still, and I'm sure we'll still play around with that when, like Del Hollow, you know, we know the spots on the lake that we can get service to do it. So
we just hope that anglers go there.
When I'll go ahead and say it, man, when Johnny Graves goes back up into the back finger and starts catching fish, I'm not going up there. I pedaled from one fork to the other fork because y'all were like, he's on fish. And by the time I got there, my phone blacked out, no service. So I just recorded him fishing, and then I had to pedal another mile or two just so I could send y'all the video. So by the time y'all got the footage, it happened like 2 hours ago.
Right.
It was hilarious. But that's the growing pains, man. We'll figure it out, or we'll take a different route to something different or new, or who knows.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Well, all right, everybody. We appreciate everybody sticking with us this long. You know, congrats to Blake on Angler of the Year. Everybody needs to pay attention to that kid. If he sticks with this, another Indiana hammer in the making. So,
another Hoosier kid.
Yeah. Hey, you know, Jackson's going to move into the boats and pass the crown, and Blake might just pick it right up from him. So
that's right.
Good to see, but we'll see you next week. Things will start to get back to normal. Should be me and Drew getting back to it, probably covering the Hobie if he's back in town after that, because I'm sure he's fishing it. Well, we'll see what we got next week. I guess we'll take it out. Good night, everybody.
Alrighty, later.
Thanks for tuning in to another killer episode on Paddle and Fin. Don't forget to go check out our website at paddle_and_fin.com. Don't forget to check out the YouTube channel at Paddle and Fin. If you got a question, comment, want to hear from a future guest on a future episode, feel free to email us at paddle_and_fin@gmail.com. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Paddle and Fin on Facebook and Instagram. Shout out to our show supporters, Angler. The Angler button and app just makes for a better time on the water and creates a virtual logbook for every fishing outing out on the water. Shout out to Rocktown Adventures, located in Northern Illinois, for all your kayaking, camping, and hiking needs. Shout out to Jig Masters Jigs. When in doubt, get the jig out. Go to jigmasters.com.